Welcome back to From the Shed End podcast with myself, T.Dot. As always, thank you very much for joining me. Now, before we get into the content, as always, please subscribe to the channel, give us a like as well, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. And also, if you hit the Linktree link in the description, you'll be able to get all our social accounts and our Spotify account as well. So make sure you do that. But let's go back to last night's game. Now that I've calmed down, I can hopefully try and address some things that happened yesterday, because let's be honest, that was awful. That was probably one of the worst performances, if you're a Chelsea fan, that I can really think of in a long time that we've played like that. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to try and get into everything. But let's start off with the lineup. Obviously, we knew that Reece James didn't travel with the squad. He was injured or took an illness, so he wasn't able to travel. Also, Trevor Chalobah, I don't think travelled with the squad either. But we did know that Billy Gilmour and Chukwuemeka also travelled, were on the bench. Also, Ethan Ampadu, I think, was also on the bench as well. The lineup, I was surprised. I mean, beforehand on the Twitter account, I put out that, Mason Mount potentially shouldn't play in this game. Kai Havertz potentially should not play in this game. Armando Broja, who knows the squad, Southampton very well, spent a whole season there on loan. Perfect time to play him. Perfect time to give him the opportunity to play. And if he doesn't do well, I'm sure there's going to be many bids, many clubs coming in from tomorrow, transfer deadline day. There's going to be clubs wanting him. The same with Billy Gilmour. I mean, these guys are not being given the opportunity to play football at the club. I don't understand what they need to do. But it's alarming now. It's a massive wake-up call for the club, hopefully, for Thomas Tuchel. Last night was diabolical, a diabolical performance. And, I mean, yeah, we scored a brilliant goal. Let's talk about the goal. Really good link-up play with Mason Mount, Kai Havertz, aheemSterling. The only guy going forward, in my opinion, that looks like he's going to do something. Kai Havertz, I really think is not ready. He's not equipped for this league. He's really not. And when I mean equipped, I mean physically not ready to play in the Premier League. He's not ready. Pulisic is not. They're not ready to play in the Premier League. I don't know whether it's just a physical thing or whether a mentality thing, but they cannot play in the Premier League. If you look how many times Kai Havertz was pushed off the ball last night, just pushed off the ball. Hakim Ziyech put a ball, a 60-yard, probably longer, pass to Kai Havertz and didn't do anything with it. And fair play to Hakim Ziyech, because this is a guy that has kind of been in and out of the team, hasn't really cemented himself into the team, has obviously been linked with a move back to Ajax over the last couple of weeks as well, but came in and put a shift in. And one of few who played for the badge yesterday. One of few. There's not many of those players that we can honestly sit down and say, hand on heart, that they played for the club yesterday. They never done that. They down tools, and this is happening too often now. We're seeing it all the time. People are saying that, it's early into the season. We shouldn't be too worried. We should be worried now. The goal that we scored was brilliant. I thought we started the game really well. Both teams did, so credit to Southampton. I thought they matched us evenly in terms of the performance going into the game, early on into it as well. And as soon as they scored, I mean, the goal, I can't understand for the life of me the goal that they scored. I'm trying to think who it was now. Lavia. First of all, there's the build-up to the corner. Now, Azpilicueta, I love the guy. I love him. Chelsea legend, won it all. We'll call him Dave. I love him. But he's getting on now. We need to seriously consider who can play right back? Who can play right back or right wing back if we're playing in a back three with the two wing backs? Who can play there? Because Azpilicueta cannot do this job. He can't do it anymore. He's too slow. He's out of position. He's tracking back too much. He hasn't got the legs. He hasn't got the speed. Some of these players that he's coming up against, they're 18, 19, 20. They've got 10 years on him. Every year goes by, you lose a yard of pace. He can't do it anymore. He's not fast enough to play in this team. He can't do it. And this is probably one of the reasons why we haven't seen him feature in the games beforehand, because of this reason. Last night was diabolical. The goal leading up to that. You've got options. You either give it back to Mendy, which I know is very, very subjective because of what he did in one of the early games. I think it was I can't remember what game it was, Leeds, I think, where he fumbles. I get that. I understand it. you've got reservations about passing back to Mendy. I even said on this channel, I wouldn't pass back to Mendy. Kick it out properly. Get rid of the ball. Don't just kick it out for a corner. Okay, you've got someone pressuring you. You've got someone coming towards you. Okay, it happens. But the corner, the clearance from Azpilicueta from the corner, the following on corner, it was poor. You almost assisted Lavia for the goal. And then no one closes Lavia down. I think it's either Sterling or Mount, one of the two. Might be Mason Mount. Close him down. You can see he's got the ball. He's got the ball. He's going to shoot. He's going to shoot. Yes, there's bodies in front of him. Yes, there's plenty of people in the box. He's going to shoot the ball. Close him down so he can't shoot. Or if he does, the angle isn't perfect for him. I mean, we made the angle for him. We put as many bodies in the way of Mendy for the goal. I don't get my head around it. I can't get my head around it. I'm still angry from last night. I can't get my head around the fact that we, as a club, we talk about all the defenders we've got, Koulibaly and Cucurella and all of these players, and we're awful on set pieces. Awful on set pieces. Mendy should be doing better. This is the second time in the space of a couple of days he's been beaten at his near post. And we have to start again. I said it last week. I said it not even last week, a couple of days ago. I said it. We have to start calling out these players. If they're not playing well, or they're not doing the right things, or they're not playing for the badge, not playing for the club, we have to call it out. We have to call it out. I don't care if it's Mendy, Mason Mount, Kai Havertz, whoever, Thomas Tuchel. We have to call them out because it's not good enough. It's not good enough. And you know, certain fans will protect certain players. We've got to stop doing that because Mendy should be saving that, regardless of how many bodies is in front of him. There was hardly any power in the shot. It's a savable shot. He could save that. And he doesn't do that. And these are the things that I keep saying. You know, we've put Mendy on his pedestal. We've told him he's the best goalkeeper in the world. He's better than Alisson. He's better than Ederson. He's winning all these awards. And the basic things he can't do. He can't play out from the back. He's not good with his feet. He's getting beaten at his near post. These are things that, as a goalkeeper, are basic in modern football. You should be able to be good with your feet. You should be able to play out from the back. If you get, you got to be strong with your hands. You got to get a stronger hand to that ball. And this is happening too much now, and it's becoming a liability. Thiago Silva, warrior. I said it last video, I'm saying it again. Thiago Silva is a warrior. He's an absolute warrior, 38 years of age, and the only player probably with aheemSterling yesterday that actually played for the badge. Actually turned up and played for the badge and didn't stop as well. Didn't stop. Played for the badge. It's ridiculous. I'm going to get onto the midfield. Because Thomas Tuchel, bearing in mind, we knew Reece James was injured. Our subs, Billy Gilmour, Ethan Ampadu, Mateo Kovacic, all midfielders. Now, I don't know what Billy Gilmour has to do to get into this squad. Mateo Kovacic had 20 minutes or 15 minutes at the weekend. Thomas Tuchel said there's no way he's starting against Southampton. He'll probably get 20 minutes at the most. Now, knowing you've got injuries, knowing that Billy Gilmour can actually play in that role, and he does it quite well. Now, is anyone actually going to challenge me and say the midfield that we started with yesterday was better than what Billy Gilmour could have done? Because Billy Gilmour could do exactly what Ruben Loftus-Cheek could do in that midfield. He could have done exactly the same job. Now, I don't understand why he's not being played. I don't understand why he's not in the plans, why he's travelled and all the rest of it. And is he going to go out on loan? That's to be, TBC. But last night, Billy Gilmour, that midfield was crying out for someone like Billy Gilmour, Ethan Ampadu, someone who can actually do the job that we need him to do as a defensive midfielder. They can do that. I'm so lost. It doesn't matter about our defenders. It doesn't matter who we bring in defence. It doesn't matter who we bring in attack. If it's Aubameyang or whoever, it doesn't matter because our midfield is awful. Awful. If we don't have Kante and we don't have Kovacic, the midfield is almost redundant having the midfield. We don't have a midfield. And teams like Southampton, Leeds, just walk right through our midfield. We got to see it for the second goal. They just walked through the midfield. No challenge, no pressure, no nothing. Just allowed them to go through the midfield. And we don't have a midfield. And this is where my brain doesn't process what's happening, because why is Billy Gilmour still on the bench? Why is he on the bench? Bring him on. You've got to bring him on and give him an opportunity, because now we've got another injury to Ruben Loftus-Cheek, which Thomas Tuchel said is a hamstring injury. You'd expect he's going to miss the game at the weekend, West Ham. Kovacic still doesn't look fully fit. He came on at half-time. He had to come on and change things. It just doesn't make any sense, these subs that Thomas Tuchel is making, and we have to question Thomas Tuchel. We have to question Thomas Tuchel. Some fans won't like that. Some fans will say that we shouldn't be questioning the manager. We've got to back the manager. I'll back the manager to the day that he gets his P45 and he's out the door. But we have to still question him. So backing him and questioning him are two different things. Do I back him 100%? But I still have the opportunity and the right to question the manager of the club that I support. It's awful. Some of these subs, Christian Pulisic came on. Cucurella went to left centre-back. Ben Chilwell went to left wing-back. We went to a back five with the three centre-backs. Pulisic was right wing-back. Right wing-back. The player that is predominantly used on the left side of the pitch was playing at right wing-back. I can't believe it. I honestly can't believe it. I talk about Mason Mount on here a lot. I talk about Kai Havertz on here a lot. I could talk about all those players last night. I take away aheemSterling and Thiago Silva, who were the only two players for me that actually played well. They played well in a bad team. And all these players that we talk about, Mason Mount, Jorginho, Cucurella had a half-decent game. Koulibaly was he effective in defence? Not really. Mendy, none of these players done well. None of the subs that came on again. Kovacic was trying so hard, but he's isolated. He's left. He's left on his own in midfield. aheemSterling is, again, levels above the other attackers that we have. He's better than Kai Havertz. He's better than Hakim Ziyech. He's better than Mason. He's better than all of these attackers, these players that we class as attacking players. He's better than all of them. And what worries me with aheemSterling is you can see the frustration every time he doesn't get the ball. He makes a perfect run. He doesn't get the ball. The frustration's there. He's trying. He's working so hard. But he's gone from the quality of the players that he had at Manchester City, and he's come here and we've got quality players, but they're not the level of Man City. They're just not. And what will happen, we'll see that quality that's in aheemSterling. We'll soon see it drop out. The enthusiasm drops out. We've got to address this midfield issue. We've got to get this done in the next 24 hours before this window shuts. We have to bring in midfielders. Really good midfielders, whether that's De Jong, whoever. We've got to bring someone in, because we can't go through the season. We're playing one game a week at the moment, bar last night. We're playing one game a week. This is without Champions League football. This is without the Carabao Cup. This is without the FA Cup. Our next games, I think, are West Ham, Fulham, Liverpool. Then we have AC Milan as well. They're tough games. And we have to start seriously thinking now, back the gaffer 110%. But if we don't win those games and we don't win our Champions League game, questions are going to be asked, because last night told me that Thomas Tuchel does not have a plan B. And we talk about injuries. We talk about the players that are available to Thomas Tuchel. Rightfully so, 100%. I agree with that. But when you've got someone like, I'd rather he kept Cesar Azpilicueta on than put on Pulisic. I just don't understand it. I don't understand that. I don't think Thomas Tuchel understands that. I really don't. I don't think he understands the subs that he made. Broja came on as well with Pulisic, who is another one that just doesn't look like he can cope with the Premier League. He's not a Premier League player. In Dortmund, brilliant. Serie A, he'd be brilliant. La Liga, he'd be brilliant. But in the Premier League, the physicality of this league, he just doesn't look like... Pulisic can't do it. He can't do it. He can't play at the level that we need him to play at. He can't do it. It's not good enough. I just don't get it. I don't get it. The frustration's still there in me, as you can hear, but I don't get what is happening. Tonight, while I'm recording this, obviously there's games today as well, tonight. We could be in the bottom half of the table going into that West Ham game. Difficult game. Yes, it's at Stamford Bridge, but the game's been brought earlier. You know, we've got some key games coming up, and if we don't win those games, I'm telling you, I can't even get the words out, but I'm telling you from now, there's going to be questions about Thomas Tuchel. Because after his press conferences, he's kind of telling us a little bit now that, you know, you just go and listen to the press conferences. Go on the Chelsea channel, you'll hear them, you'll hear what he's saying, but you can tell that he's running out of ideas. And yes, his options are limited because of the players that we have available, but we've still got enough players in that team to be able to beat Southampton. That's a given. We can't use that as an excuse. We've got injuries. Clubs are always going to have injuries. Liverpool have got injuries right now. I think Spurs might have a couple of injuries. We can't use that as an excuse for why we're not playing well, because the players on the pitch last night did not play well at all. So it's not the fact we don't have the players. We've got the players. They just don't play well. There's no chemistry between the players. There's nothing. There's no creativity. There's nothing. There's nothing in that squad that makes me think we could go on and win the league with this squad. We might be able to win the Champions League with this squad. We might be able to win the Carabao Cup with this squad. I honestly don't see it. I don't see it. And it's a very negative video, but I just don't see where we're going to get points from and goals from this season. If we carry on the way we are, I don't see it. I really don't see it. And like I said, there's going to be question marks. There has to be question marks. When performances are bad, it's the manager that is the magnifying glass of everything. And he's the one that's under the microscope at the moment. Yes, the players as well, but they will survive to live another day. Thomas Tuchel, on the other hand, he's on that sort of slippery slope already, and we're only 4 or 5 games into the season. So something's got to change, whether we bring in more players over the next 24 hours before the deadline shuts, or these players actually play for the manager. Because last night they downed tools after that first Southampton goal went in. They downed tools, they were checked out, they were gone. And you can't do that against big clubs, Liverpool's. You can't do that. It's not going to work. So something's got to change, whether that's the I don't know, the tactics, whether we bring in players, I don't know. I don't have the answers. But as a Chelsea fan, something has to change. Whether that's the players, I don't know. But we've got to get it right, because we're gonna fall behind the pack. And at the moment, if you had to say who misses out on Champions League next season, it'd be us, because we're not even playing like world champions. We're not even playing like a Premier League team last night. We look like a championship team. It's awful. And something has to change. And hopefully the next video I do is a lot more calmer, with a little bit more happiness in there. But today's video had to be like this, because some of you Chelsea fans have to wake up and realise that we are now in a position where, yes, we're transitioning from ownership to a new owner, but the players are now, the focus is on them. Because if Todd Boehly brings in a couple more players in the next couple of hours, and the players play like they did last night throughout the rest of the season, it's on them, and it's on Thomas Tuchel. Because Boehly's delivered. He's delivered what he wanted. From what we know, this is Thomas Tuchel's ideas. He wants to bring in Koulibaly, Torreira. He wants Patrick Aubameyang. He wants Frankie de Jong. If he wants these players and he gets them, it's on the manager. This has been T.Dot from the Shed End. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Give us a like. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. And hopefully we'll be back with a match preview of the West Ham game in the next couple of days or so. So stay safe until then, and thank you very much for watching.